Welcome to the Witchy Work Wishes podcast, a place to find your weekly inspiration for bringing your personal witchcraft practice into your business, work, and office. Welcome to Witchy Work Wishes, and thank you for joining me today on episode 103, where we are diving into the fascinating world of October's thin veil. As we approach the magical month of October, we enter a time when, the boundaries between our world and the spirit realm feel especially fragile. I've been building up to this topic over the past couple of episodes because I have a definite theme with the upcoming October episodes, all of which will support this area in our practices. But first, some things I did over the weekend, and it wasn't a super witchy weekend for me. I was traveling in Texas for my younger son Connor's water polo tournament. But I did get to spend the entire weekend with both of my boys since my older son Taylor traveled out for the games too. And you know what? Oh my gosh, being with them, you guys, it fuels my soul, fills my heart, and honestly puts a pep in my step. I just feel so good around them. What was even more energizing is seeing Connor play water polo again. This has been his sport for a while now. And while it's not my story to tell, I can say that he has had some really hard things that he has gone through, that he has overcome, and that he has come out stronger for on the other side. But inevitably, there are regrets, and getting back in the pool to play again is bringing, or I think they are helping to bring, those regrets to a close and will help validate the circle on the life-changing events that he has gone through. So I actually did head back to my cards. This time it was really for some guidance from my Crow Tarot deck. There was a huge presence of grackles on my trip, and oh my gosh, they are so talkative and just animated. I really love grackles. But they left feathers for me. Oh gosh, I even got a huge crow feather from the Houston Zoo side trip that we took. But the blackbirds, they were there, talking away and just being present. Now, I had a couple of moments that I really needed and wanted direction on. To say a couple is probably minimizing it, dramatically minimizing it. And it wasn't anything with my boys, but, other dynamics at play over the weekend that stirred stuff up again that I clearly need to work through. So it screamed shadow work and the need for reserving time just for me to work through things that are apparently still unresolved. So my specific question was one about insecurity, feelings about not being good enough, maybe not feeling important in other people's world, and honestly, flat out at times, just feeling jealous. And I don't like that. I don't like those feelings. That's not me. That's not my core. So when they pop up, I really want to work through them. So the card I got was interesting. I drew the Hierophant. Now this is a major card, right? And it focuses on education, tradition, maybe some religious institution elements with it, but definitely like a higher learning. This is an earth element card too. Now the specific wording from my Crow Tarot deck says, the Hierophant Crow is pragmatic and does not take unnecessary risks. This crow appears at a time when a conventional approach is needed to resolve a situation or help further a project. This card brings a warning that now is not a time to think outside the box. Instead, seek knowledge from a well-regarded institution or person. The Hierophant's role is to stand before others as a mentor and spiritual teacher. He is deeply connected with the divine and could represent guidance that comes from connecting with our higher self through a professional healer. Oh my goodness. And when I look at this card, you guys, the visual says so much to me. It has 3 beautiful crows on it with one single key in the middle of them. Just like, me and my 2 boys and our number 1. It has some stained glass, church-type windows behind them and a white candle. Now, the crow on top of the candle, who I think kind of symbolizes me, is pointing, one of her arm feathers up as the two crows on the ground, who I kind of interpreted as my two boys, look at each other. It is a beautiful card, and it gives me guidance, just like I asked it to. So the Hierophant card in tarot really does symbolize, tradition, spiritual wisdom, and, the guidance of a teacher or some type of mentor. It represents a connection to, again, that some type of established institution or beliefs, the established systems of thought. Often urges us to seek that deeper understanding through some type of conventional path. So I think drawing the Hierophant may suggest a need for us to embrace structured learning, right? Turn to someone for counsel, honor that time-tested principle. So I think this card invites us to reflect on the value of collective knowledge, maybe, rituals, maybe that moral framework in our life. So when we draw the Hierophant, it's a message to, consider the importance of aligning ourselves with a spiritual or intellectual tradition. And then, look for opportunities to learn from established wisdom. All, of course, while respecting our own inner authority. So this could be a time to trust the guidance of a teacher or mentor, or, deepen our connection with a community that shares our values. So once again, my Crow Tarot deck has spoken. I have listened, and I will act. Well, happy October, everybody. I'm so excited, and happy birthday to Connor if he is listening. His birthday was yesterday. Now, but it is that time of year with the arrival of fall, and, it stirs the deepest parts of my spirit, especially as a witch. As the days grow shorter, the air gets a little crisper. Well, I say that tongue-in-cheek. It's like 99 degrees here in California. But it will. It's going to turn. At some point, it has to turn. But, the trees blaze with fiery oranges and reds and yellows, and I can feel the shifting of energy around me. Autumn, particularly October, brings a sense of magic that is palpable, right? It's that thinning of the veil. It's the between the worlds that awakens both my ancestral roots and my connection to the earth. So I've always felt that, being a witch means living in harmony with the natural cycles of our earth. And fall is a time of tradition. It's a time of death and rebirth, of letting go, certainly for preparing for the dark. But it's, it's thinking about the months ahead. Now, October in particular feels like the true spiritual new year, more so than any, calendar date. It's definitely the time of Samhain, that final harvest, and a powerful moment to honor those who came before me. So I often find myself drawn to my altar maybe a little bit more frequently in these days. I am lighting, I love my candles, but I'll definitely light, some candles for my ancestors, and then call on the wisdom of the dark goddess like Hecate, who, can guide us through the mysteries and shadow and light. So I know I mentioned the difference on my mountain trip that I took in September, the end of September, as opposed to the one that was in July. July, I got still had, the beautiful spring flowers and that summer feel to it, that early summer feel to it. But gosh, the end of September, it was different. It was different walking through the woods, and it felt just like you were entering that liminal space, that area suspended between the seen and the unseen worlds. The rustling of the leaves underfoot, it becomes a sacred rhythm when you're out on a hike, and a reminder that everything must cycle through life and death. It has to happen. So in this season that we're coming into, the land itself begins to fall into a deep rest. And I, as a witch, I follow that rhythm, turning inward, reflecting on the year that has passed. And I ask myself, what needs to be released as the leaves fall from the tree? So the darkening days carry a certain weight to them. There's the unmistakable presence of spirits, and the boundaries between the worlds grow thin. This is the time when I feel most called to ancestral work, honoring the dead and reaching out to the other side for guidance. I often sit in meditation with certainly now, cup of warm cider, my tarot cards spread before me, and then seeking messages from beyond the veil, asking what lessons I need to carry into the darker half of the year. It's not just the quiet, right? It's the introspective moments that call me to October. There's also a wildness, a spark of primal energy that dances through the crisp air. The night skies grow darker, and they become a little more mysterious. And I feel the urge just to be under the moon, to celebrate the mysteries of the dark and the unknown. The cauldron on my altar feels a little heavier, right? A little more significant. And though it's not just a vessel for, magic, it's a symbol of transformation. Boiling down my intentions, my fears, my desires, until only the essential remains. Now, October is a reminder that being a witch is all about balance. It's about the light and the dark, life and death, the seen and the unseen. As the veil thins, I definitely feel like an unshakable connection to the forces that weave through the world, the seen and the unseen. And I know that I'm a part of something ancient and eternal. This is the season where my power feels raw and real, like a quiet flame in the deepening darkness. So here at Witchy Work Wishes, I have a fun month of podcast episodes that honestly are going to lead us right into some October magic. So coming up next, I have a 2-part series on ancestral magic, which will end with a step-by-step layout for a dumb supper. So I have a big episode about Samhain coming up too, and then ending October with an episode on Night of Hecate, which happens in November. So lots of spirit, ancestral, and dark magic coming up. But today we are starting off the month with the thinning of the veil, which October is all about. So grab your favorite cup of tea, your favorite glass of wine or cocktail, or whatever you like sipping on. And let's talk about the veil thinning because it's already happening now. October has always held a very special place in my heart, as I'm sure it does with most of you. The air is turning right now, the leaves are swirling in vibrant colors, and there's a certain magic that hangs in the atmosphere. Now, for those of us who practice witchcraft or simply have an affinity for the spiritual, this month is particularly significant. The idea of the thin veil originates from various traditions, but it's especially prominent in cultures that celebrate Samhain. And that comes from the Gaelic festival, marking the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter. Now, Samhain is often considered the Celtic New Year. It is a time to honor our ancestors and acknowledge the spirits that walk among us. Now, Mabon, that we just celebrated in September, marked the fall season starting. And as the nights are now growing longer, many really do believe that the veil between our world and the spirit world thins, allowing for easier communication with those who have passed. This is a time when the energies are heightened, making it an ideal moment for rituals, divination, and definitely honoring our loved ones who are no longer with us. Let's start with what does it even mean? What does a thin veil mean? So the general concept of, quote unquote, the veil refers to the boundary that separates our world from the spiritual plane. Throughout the year, this veil acts as a barrier of sorts, right? Shielding the physical world from the influences of the unseen. However, as the wheel of the year turns, right, and the season transitions from autumn to winter, this barrier begins to weaken, with October marking the peak of its thinning. So this phenomenon reaches its height on the night of Samhain, which is celebrated on October 31st, and it's also called the Witches' New Year. And really, probably one of the most sacred Sabbats on the pagan calendar year. So just as a quick side note here, exactly opposite of Samhain is Beltane. This is also an extremely important time of the year when the veil is especially thin, inviting, I think, in the springtime, more of the fae and fairies to cross over. But you know what, for fall, October, and Samhain, it's about spirits and our deceased ancestors. Okay, what is it about? It is about a time of connection. So for many witches, the thinning of the veil offers a rare and potent opportunity to connect with ancestors, spirits, and the deceased. It is a time for honoring those who have passed on. And honestly, many witches are going to set up altars that are, adorned with photos of loved ones and personal items and offerings to the spirits. These altars can act as both a tribute and a beacon, inviting the spirits to visit during this liminal time. Now, communication with the dead is definitely easier right now, more so than any other point in the year. So divination tools such as our tarot cards, oracle decks, the pendulums, and scrying mirrors are commonly going to be used to receive messages from the spirit world. Now, the thinning of the veil amplifies these practices. Clearly, we can use them all year long, but right now, they are amplified. And this allows for deeper and more profound insights to come through. So many witches also choose this time to meditate, commune with guides, of course, or perform spirit work, knowing that the energies are ripe for meaningful interactions. Now is a time for a shift in energies. The thinning of the veil also brings a shift in this energy that can be felt on a collective level. October's energy is really heavy with introspection, mystery, and definitely transformation. The natural world is in a state of decay and such, right? Trees shed their leaves and animals prepare for hibernation. Now, this mirrors the spiritual shedding, if you will, that occurs during this time. As witches, we often use this season to release what no longer serves us. And rituals of release and banishment, even transformation, they're going to be pretty common right now as the waning energy of the year supports our intentions. So at the same time with that waning energy, we're also going to have this, electric presence, right, with the otherworldly forces. Elements, fae, other spiritual beings, right, they're said to roam around more freely right now. And we're going to find our colleagues often leaving, food as offerings, drinks as offerings, or maybe natural materials such as, a gesture of respect to these entities that are now roaming around. The night sky holds a special significance during this time, with the full moon, often called the blood moon or the hunter's moon, providing that extra power for our spell work and our rituals. Now, the lunar energy in tandem with the thinning of the veil, my goodness, it creates a potent combination for those of us who practice witchcraft. What else is it a time for? It's a time for honoring the dark goddess. October's thinning veil also brings us, into close communication with dark goddesses, deities that are going to be associated with death, like the underworld, transformation. They can be Hecate, Morrigan, Persephone. These are good examples of dark goddesses that can be honored during this time. Now, these types of goddesses tend to rule over the mysteries of life and death. And, October is a good time to seek their guidance and protection. Now, working with these darker aspects of the divine I don't think it's something to be afraid of, but, it can be honored, right? The dark goddess is a part of the balance. It's a part of that balance that we need in both sides of every equation. They represent the cycle of death and rebirth, which is a natural and necessary part of nature's rhythm. By invoking these goddesses, we can tap into the transformative power of the season, definitely embracing the mysteries of the unknown and the wisdom that comes from facing one's shadow self. Let's see, it's also a time for protection and grounding, right? While the thinning of the veil brings with it many opportunities, it also requires caution. There's going to be an influx of spiritual activity happening, so it's important for us to protect our space and our energy. And protective rituals and the talismans, such as salt circles, Crystals like the black tourmaline or obsidian even, smudging, using our smudge sticks, whatever it is, or, other sacred herbs that you have. These are all going to be commonly used to kind of create that boundary and keep malevolent spirits at bay. Now, grounding practices such as meditation, connecting with the earth, those can both help maintain balance during this intense time of the year. And just quickly, while talking about protection and grounding, I think we are all keenly aware of the responsibility that comes with, working in such close proximity to the spiritual realm. The thinning of the veil is a time for reverence, respect, and care, as not all spirits are benevolent. Many witches will set firm boundaries with the spirit world, ensuring that, only those with good intentions are welcomed into their sacred space. Now is also a time for, reflection and transformation. It's the season for it. Now, towards the end of this month, as October draws to a close, the energy of the thinning veil encourages deep reflection. It's a time to look inward, to consider the lessons of the past year, and to set intentions for the future. Samhain marks both an ending and a beginning, a time to honor the cycles of life and death, to celebrate the harvest, and to plant seeds for new growth in the coming months. For many witches, many in our practice, the thinning of the veil is more than just a spiritual occurrence. It is a profound reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. The boundaries between life and death, the seen and the unseen, they're not as rigid as they seem. October offers that glimpse into the mysteries of the universe, a time when magic is thick in the air and whispers of the other world can be heard by those who choose to listen. So I think October has a playful time about it too, right? Halloween. For many, it's a celebration of all things spooky, but for witches, it's probably more of a reminder of our connection to the spirit world. But it's fun, right? Decorating with pumpkins and lighting candles and dressing up can always be seen as a way to honor the thinning veil. So I like to think of it as a way to embrace the playful aspects of magic, right? There's nothing wrong with having a little fun while honoring the sacred. Or maybe you even host a Samhain party where, friends gather to share stories of loved ones, perform rituals, or simply celebrate the changing of the seasons. Now, as we move deeper into October, it definitely is a time for reflection, at least for me. What have I learned this past year? What do I want to release? So the thinning of the veil reminds me of the cycles, again, that life, death, letting go of the old to make way for the new. All right, so, take some time if you can, journal about your experiences, your hopes, your fears. This really can be an incredibly cathartic time and, help you gain clarity as we approach the darker months ahead. All right, let's grab some crafty stuff and talk about how we can personally work with the thinning veil. First one, I'm going to say number one is going to be ancestral dream work. Speaking with our ancestors in dreams is a mystical and intimate experience where the boundary between that seen and unseen world just fades away. In the quiet of the night, as we drift off into the dreamscape, we enter a sacred space where time and distance no longer matter. And here our ancestors appear, or they can appear, right? Often as gentle guides or familiar faces carrying the wisdom of generations past. Now, these dream encounters may come as symbolic visions, comforting conversations maybe, or even profound lessons that reflect the journeys that they have walked and the knowledge that they wish to pass on. It's within these dreams, the connection to our lineage feels, tangible, right? And the messages that they convey often carry deep insights into our own lives, offering guidance and healing and hopefully sometimes closure. But this sacred communication, it is both a blessing and a reminder of the eternal bond that links us to those who came before us. So if this is something that interests you, before you go to sleep, just prepare a small little altar near your bed, right? With some ancestral offerings such as, photographs, if you have any heirlooms, and some type of symbol that's going to resonate with your lineage. I love mugwort tea, but you can do like a little blend of mugwort and lavender in just a sachet. You can use it as incense, something to enhance the psychic dreaming. Before sleeping, though, state your intention to connect with your ancestors through dreams, asking for guidance or messages, whatever you need. But then keep a dream journal by your bedside to immediately capture any insights or visions upon waking. This practice can bring ancestral healing and reveal deep-seated wisdom. All right, so 3 main areas that we can focus on with ancestral dream work. First one's probably going to be healing generational trauma, right? We might want to connect with ancestors in our dreams to understand and heal maybe some of the emotional wounds that have been passed down through their lineage. In the dream state, we might encounter ancestors who, like reveal family traumas that need to be healed, or even show paths to breaking cycles of pain, guiding us towards personal and generational healing. Another area to focus on would be receiving just our ancestral wisdom. In dreams, our ancestors may want to share guidance on important life decisions or help with our spiritual practices. For example, a person may be, maybe dreaming of an ancestor, showing them how to perform a ritual, offering wisdom on how to navigate a current challenge, or even passing down their cultural knowledge that maybe has been lost in the family line. And then the third one would be just to explore past life connections. Some ancestral dream work can involve exploring past life experiences where the dreamer may encounter ancestors that they were directly connected to in a previous incarnation. So these dreams can reveal insights about personal traits, karmic patterns, or unfinished soul contracts that need attention, fostering a deeper understanding of the soul's journey and connection to our lineage. So let's see, another area that we can do, I think would be definitely shadow work with the dark goddesses. This is going to be another super big one, and you might already be doing this in your practice. I do not do a lot of deity work, but I do want to give a shout out to dark goddess work. This is the time of the year for it. So shadow work with the dark goddess, any dark goddess, is going to be a journey into the depths of the soul where, we confront the parts of ourselves that we often hide or ignore. The dark goddess, whether, embodied as Hecate, Morrigan, Kali, stands as a fierce guide in this transformative process, leading us through the shadows with their ancient wisdom. Now, in their presence, we are invited to face our fears, face our wounds, and our limiting beliefs, the aspects of ourselves that we tend to bury in the darkness. Now, they can hold space for us without judgment, urging us to accept and integrate these parts rather than fear or reject them. So rituals with a dark goddess often can include like a really deep meditation, journaling, of course, but also symbolic acts like scrying or burning, all done in the quiet embrace of their energy. As we journey through this type of shadow work, we can find that the darkness isn't something to be feared, right? But it is a source of immense personal power and healing. The dark goddesses help us reclaim our full selves, allowing transformation to occur by embracing both our light and our shadow sides. So if this appeals to you, you can set aside sacred time for a shadow work ritual. Begin with some type of deep meditation or, journey to the underworld, asking the goddess that you want to work with to reveal the aspects of your shadow self that need healing. Use a black mirror or, maybe like an obsidian sphere for scrying, and allow whatever shadows arise to be acknowledged and honored. Journal your findings and engage in a ritual burning of, any limiting beliefs or emotional burdens that you've uncovered, transforming them right into new strength. So I know most of us are probably going to be drawn directly to Hecate, for that dark goddess work, but we do have 7, Hecate, being one of them, of course, that I wanted to mention. So, dark goddesses are basically really, really powerful deities that are highly associated with transformation, death, the underworld, and the shadow aspects of life and, the self. They often represent the mysteries of the unknown, destruction, rebirth, and they help guide us through difficult transitions and deep inner work. So Hecate, she is a Greek deity, often regarded as the goddess of witchcraft, the crossroads, and the underworld. Hecate is associated with magic, the night, and the transition between life and death. She helps guide people really through dark times, offering wisdom, protection, and insight to the hidden realms of the psyche. Kali, I'm not sure how to pronounce that one, is a Hindu deity. This fierce goddess of destruction and transformation is known for her terrifying yet liberating energy. She destroys illusions, attachments, and really anything that holds a person back from true spiritual growth. Kaylee's energy is both destructive and creative, symbolizing, the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Morgan is a Celtic deity. She is definitely a popular one and is a goddess of war, fate, and death. She's often depicted as kind of like a shapeshifter who oversees the battlefield too. She represents the darker aspects of life, including conflict and the inevitability of death, but she also offers wisdom on transportation and our own personal power. Lilith is another popular one in the dark goddess area. She is a Jewish deity. Lilith is often associated with independence, rebellion, and the rejection of patriarchal norms. She is a symbol of primal, untamed female energy. And I think shadow work with Lilith often involves claiming one's autonomy, confronting fears of rejection or judgment, and definitely embracing one's own personal power. Persephone is another dark goddess. This is a Greek deity. I think, though, originally the goddess of spring, Persephone becomes queen of the underworld after her abduction by Hades. So she symbolizes the duality of life and death, light and dark, and is often associated with personal transformation, the descent into the unconscious and our cycles of renewal. Hel is another dark goddess. This is a Norse deity. Hel is the ruler of the underworld in Norse mythology, where she governs over the souls of the dead. Now, as a goddess of death, she definitely represents acceptance of mortality and the inevitable cycles of life and death. Now, she helps those who work with her to confront fears of death and the unknown. And I don't know if I'm going to say this next one right, Ereshkigal. This is another dark goddess. This one is a Mesopotamian deity. And she is the Sumerian goddess of the underworld. She rules over the dead and is often invoked when one is dealing with grief, loss, or maybe exploring the shadow aspects of the self. Her energy supports the descent into the depths of the unconscious to find healing and transformation. So these dark goddesses are going to help us confront and work with our shadow side, embrace our own personal power, and navigate those difficult transitions by kind of shining light on what is hidden, what is repressed, or even feared. Now, I know my understanding is working with them is going to be intense, but it's going to lead to profound personal and spiritual transformation. So let's see, what are some things that we can focus on while doing shadow work with the dark goddesses? Facing inner fears, right? And repressed emotions? Check. No, just kidding. Okay, working with dark goddesses like Hecate or Kali, whichever one is your deity. They can guide us into facing our deepest fears and emotions, right? By invoking their presence, you can create a ritual or meditation to confront emotions such as anger, jealousy, even grief that have been suppressed. Wasn't I just saying I needed to do that? Man, it's amazing when things line up, isn't it? But these dark goddesses, they can serve as a mirror, helping us acknowledge and embrace these shadow aspects without judgment, right? They're there just to help us, ultimately transforming these hiccups, these shadow aspects into sources of empowerment. Another thing we can do is work with them to release limiting beliefs and old identities. The dark goddesses often symbolize destruction, right? And that transformation. And it's really hard to start something new without letting go of something that is old. So working with their energy can often involve, I think, shedding old identities, right? Old belief systems that no longer serve us. For example, invoking the goddess Lilith, right, might inspire you to confront societal or personal conditioning that has restricted your authenticity, especially around themes of independence and sexuality or personal power. And through this process, you can reclaim your true self. So another thing we can do in working with them is definitely navigating dark nights of our soul. Now, the dark goddesses can be a powerful guide during spiritual crises, right? Or, those dark nights of the soul when everything seems uncertain or overwhelming. Meditating or journaling with a goddess like Persephone, right, who descends into the underworld, can help you navigate periods of loss, confusion, or deep personal transformation. So this shadow work emphasizes the value of going through darkness to find new wisdom and rebirth, and accepting the cyclical nature of death and renewal in our lives. So shadow work with the dark goddesses, it's on my docket for sure this October. I am hoping for like a deep dive into personal transformation, working on those shadow aspects that I know I need to bring into the light in order to grow from. And then, just foster my overall growth through the embrace of what has been hidden or rejected. Another area or big thing we can focus on during this thinning veil time is to do some crossroads magic for our spiritual guidance. Now, the thinning veil is perfect for working with the energy of crossroads, which are powerful liminal spaces for invoking spirits and receiving guidance. This can be done at dusk, but definitely visit a crossroad, and if you can't, you can always create a symbolic one in your own ritual space, and then call upon Hecate, who is the goddess of the crossroads, to guide you in your own spiritual work. Light 3 candles, to represent each path, and then use divination tools like a pendulum, a tarot, scrying, or even, to ask for that guidance on pivotal decisions or spiritual questions. Leave offerings such as, garlic, honey, or even wine to honor her and any spirits that you've worked with during the ritual. Some specific workings, though, that we can do with crossroads magic this October. Gosh, I think, crossroad magic is just so powerful in itself. It's often going to be tied to or associated with decision-making questions, transformation, invoking spirits and deities, especially during liminal times. So I think October, with its association with Samhain and the thinning veil between our worlds, is really going to be an ideal month for working with crossroad magic. Also, I believe November, but certainly October with our thinning veil. So here are some 3 things I pulled that you can do to actually work with that crossroad type magic during October. So Hecate, the goddess of witchcraft and the crossroads, is especially powerful to work with in October. And ready for this one, you guys? Oh my gosh, if you can work with her on a dark moon, that is going to be ideal. But guess when the dark moon is? Yep, it's on the 31st. So the new moon is happening right now, right? And will happen again on November 1st. So the best time to work with Hecate is going to either be, working with her on a dark moon or actually on Samhain. But guess what? This year they are one in the same. So I'll be talking more about this on my Samhain episode that's coming up, but be ready. It's happening. So on this dark moon night, you can visit, if you can, like a literal crossroads, which is the meeting of, two or more roads, right? To petition her for guidance, petition her for protection or help in making important life decisions. So what should you do for that one? I would bring an offering for sure. I'm not a Hecate expert, but in researching her, she likes garlic, she likes eggs, she likes honey. You can light a black candle and, stand at the center of the crossroads. Call out to her. Ask for her wisdom and assistance. And then leave your offering at the crossroad or, return home without looking back. So this practice is often used for, when you're asking for guidance during times of transition or for spiritual protection. So another thing you can do is if you just want to perform a crossroad divination ritual. You don't necessarily need to call on or work with deities. Crossroads in themselves are seen as liminal spaces, and they're perfect for performing divination rituals to gain insight or receive messages from spirits, ancestors, or deities, of course. October is perfect, right? It is a time when the veil is thin between our worlds, so it's ideal for receiving clear mystical guidance. So for this one, on a clear night in October, bring whatever your preferred divination tools are. Again, tarot cards, oracle cards, pendulum, whatever it is. But bring that to a crossroads. Set up a small altar with candles or any of your relevant symbols, or offerings for spirit guides or ancestors. And then meditate. Meditate right there at the crossroads and attune yourself to the energies of the space. And then ask for insight on a specific question. Use your divination tools to receive guidance. And you might even sense or feel energies communicating with you through subtle signs. Now, we talked about signs and messages last week. They are out there. They are there for you to see. All right, and then the third one would probably be like a cleansing, like a releasing ritual maybe at the crossroad. I don't think they're just about a place for a decision, right? They can also be a place of release and transformation. So October's dark, mysterious energy really is perfect for letting go of things that no longer serve you, right? Clearing out old energies or even releasing blockages before moving into the new year, or that someone is often considered our witch's new year. So what to do for this one? I would write down on a piece of paper anything you wish to release. A bad habit, a limiting belief, emotional baggage, whatever it is, right? Visit a crossroad at sunset or at midnight. And then as you stand in the center of the crossroad, read aloud what you want to release and focus on the intention of letting it go. Burn the paper if you can. I love doing stuff like that, but if it's safe, burn the paper. If it's not safe to burn it, bury it. Bury it right at the crossroad while visualizing the energy being released and transformed. As you leave the crossroad, walk in a new direction to symbolize moving forward, leaving behind the old energy. And don't look back. So these crossroad practices, those three, they align with the transformative, boundary crossing energy of October, helping you, invoke powerful spirits, seek guidance, and then release what no longer serves you. All right, so those are three good areas of suggestion if you're looking, to work with the thinning veil this October. Again, dream work with your ancestors, deity work with a dark goddess, and crossroad magic for guidance. Now, I know I had a big protection episode recently, but I do feel like this is a really good time just to review some basic protection practices for all of us, as the veil continues to thin and spirits become more active. So to spiritually protect yourself during these times, when the veil between worlds is thinning, such as Samhain or any liminal periods, it really is essential to create a safe, grounded space and then call upon protective energies. First and foremost, ground and center yourself, right? Grounding is vital to maintain stability and clarity, especially when energies are heightened. For this one, an easy exercise is going to be, to stand or sit comfortably. Visualize those roots growing from the base of your spine or your feet, but visualize them going deep into the earth. Imagine yourself anchoring into the earth's core. Focus on your breath, feeling your energy becoming calm, solid, and balanced. And this will keep you rooted during spiritual work, preventing ungrounded or maybe overwhelming energies from affecting you. A second one, if you can, cleanse your space and your energy field. Cleansing both these, personal spaces, it helps to remove lingering or negative energies, or it can help to remove lingering or negative energies. Right? Creating that pure environment for us to do spiritual work. My easy one for this one is, do some type of smoke from cleansing herbs, whatever your favorite herbs is, but something to kind of smudge your aura in space. You can use sound that works too, like chimes, bells, singing bowls. Sound is a great way to clear energy. But, as you cleanse, set the intention that any energy that is not yours or is not in alignment with your highest good to be released. Visualize white or golden light, filling the area, sealing it with purity and peace. Third would be to set up protection wards or shields. I think this is a great exercise to, establish energetic boundaries, right? To help keep unwanted energies or spirits from entering our sacred spaces. Easy one for this one is just I think I mentioned it before, but visualize that protective sphere or bubble of white or golden light surrounding you, or surrounding your altar, surrounding your workspace. You can create protective wards using salt, black tourmaline, obsidian even. You can sprinkle a circle of salt around the space where you will work, or even place protective stones at the corners of your room, right? But call upon protective deities, spirits, guides. Again, we talked about Hecate. It could be whoever it is, your ancestors, right? This is a great time for that. But call upon them to shield you from any harm or, mischievous energies. Fourth would be, call in spiritual allies, right? Let's call in the team, your ancestors, your spirit guides, the deities. They can offer protection and guidance as you work during this time. Ragnar, do not chew that. You are not helping. No, Ragnar. Oh my God, my cat is chewing. He's chewing the microphone. You, Becky. Where's Becky? Okay, what was I talking about? Calling in our team, right? Or they can offer protection and guidance as you work during this time. For this one, easy exercise is going to be, light a candle on your altar and then call upon your team, whoever that is, your spiritual allies, for protection. Speak aloud or, mentally state your intention to work safely and only in alignment with the energies that support your highest good. You can say something like, I call upon my ancestors and guides to surround me with love and protection. Only those energies that seek my highest good may enter this space. But you could also wear a protective charm, right? Such as a pentacle, an evil eye, or some type of medallion. Say another one would be just set clear intentions and boundaries, right? Define the scope of your spiritual work and set boundaries to help ensure that only the energies you invite are present. Easy one for this one is just to be verbally, right? Clearly state your intentions before beginning your spiritual work. This can include what you want to achieve, as well as energies and spirits that you are willing to engage with. You can use affirmations or verbal declarations such as, I invite only benevolent spirits, energies, and guides to this space. I don't know if you guys can hear my cat grooming, but Ragnar is directly under the mic, just grooming away. That's because I was traveling this weekend and I cannot move two spaces without him flanking my side.
You're so handsome. You're so busy with your cleaning.
Okay, I'm going to keep going. Sorry if you hear him grooming away. Let's see, what else can we do? We can create a sacred circle, right? Casting a protective circle is going to be a powerful way to ensure that our space is spiritually secure. Easy one for this is just going to be literally stand in the center of your space and then turn clockwise, visualizing that circle of light, right? Or fire, whatever it is that's going to be forming around you. Call upon the elements, earth, air, fire, and water. Or, call it as the four directions, north, south, east, and west, whatever it is that helps create your circle. But call on them to protect and guard your space. You may also trace a circle, right, with your athame, your wand, or finger while chanting a protective invocation. Let's see what else we can do. We can wear a protective talisman, right? That's an easy way to help protect ourselves. I think protective objects, physical objects, can serve as constant reminders of our intentions and act as energy shields. For this one, you can wear protective crystals, such as, that black tourmaline again, amethyst, even obsidian. You can... Will you stop? You can wear sacred symbols, right? Such as the pentacle, or some type of protective charm. And then, of course, carrying these items with you, that helps to act as a barrier against negative influences, both in the physical and the spirit realm. After you do your stuff, close and ground if you can after your work. I know sometimes it's hard when we're ready to wrap it up, but once your spiritual work is complete, it really is important to properly close the space and then kind of re-ground your energy. Easy one for this one's going to be just to say thank you, right? Thank you to your allies, to your guides or deities, whoever came to help you, but thank you for their protection. Thank them. Thank them for their protection. Visualize the circle of protection, kind of dissolving, and then any spirits or energies returning to their rightful place. Ground yourself again if you can, right? Place your hands on the earth or use some type of grounding visualization. And then drink water, eat something, do a short physical activity to kind of fully return to your body and the present moment. So, these steps, I know it's a lot I've thrown at you here, but they will definitely help ensure you are spiritually safe, grounded, protected before working during a thinning veil time. Really does allow for a deeper and more secure connection within that spiritual world. All right, so there you have it. We know what the thinning veil is. We know what it means, and some good examples of things we can do during this October thinning veil time. Again, that astral dream work, that's going to be a big one for me. Working with dark goddess energy, that is actually going to be a new area for me, but I am going to be trying that one out. It's just too perfect, especially with what I was just asking for guidance on. The fact that the 31st is going to be a dark moon, it's just too much. I can't not do it. But then also the crossroads magic, that can be some powerful stuff. I think if you can do one or certainly all three of those during this thinning veil time, I think you're going to have some amazing magic to work with and some amazing energy. Just don't forget to protect yourself. Whatever that form or fashion comes in for you, protect yourself while the veil is thin. This is just a time when we are vulnerable. All right, I do have a poem for today. I'm going to go grab that and the information about our beautiful moon, and I will be right back. Okay, let's start with the poem first. It is all about our thinning of the veil this October. And it goes. As the veil grows thin and night turns deep, the spirits stir from their silent sleep. Ancestral whispers in the wind do rise, guiding the witch under darkened skies. At the crossroads where shadows meet, Hecate's torch lights the ancient street. Kaylee's dance of destruction and fire burns away what we must retire. The Morrigan calls from the battlefield's edge, offering power with each solemn pledge. And through the veil, Lilith's song is clear, embracing the wind, the shadow, the fear. By candle's flame we cast our spell, invoking the dead where mysteries dwell. The dark goddesses, fierce and wise, lead us through where the shadows lie. So we honor the past, the lost, the unseen, in the thinning veil's ethereal sheen. With protection strong and hearts aflame, we work the magic in their name. All right, our beautiful moon. Ooh, she's dark. She's dark right now. So it is a great time to work with the dark goddesses. The new moon starts tomorrow and brings with it the energy of Libra, our balanced sign. So during a dark October moon, which is, the nights right before our new moon, the energy really is perfect for introspection, setting new intentions, and then working on shadow aspects. And if that interests you, here are 3 things you can do during this powerful time. First and foremost, set intentions and begin new projects. The new moon that is coming up tomorrow, is traditionally a time for fresh starts, planting seeds for future growth, all of that good stuff. And October, this is a particularly potent time for magical workings, right? Due to that thinning veil and the deep transformative energy of autumn. So write down your goals or your intentions, whatever you wish to manifest. These could relate to personal growth, spiritual development, or specific projects. Perform a simple ritual, where you light a candle and you meditate on your desires, visualizing them coming to fruition as the moon grows. Dark moon, engage in shadow work. The dark moon really does represent a time to dive deep into your subconscious and address those hidden aspects of yourself. This can involve confronting fears, your limiting beliefs, or any emotional blockage that honestly needs healing or release. Easy one to do for this one is just, not easy, I didn't mean it that way. Here's an option that you can do is to set aside time for reflection, for journaling or meditation. I do not think shadow work is easy. I did not mean it to come off that way. But, focus on aspects of yourself that are difficult to face or, that have been repressed. You can call upon dark goddesses like Hecate or Kaylee, to guide you through this transformative process, asking them to help you release what no longer serves you. And then, what can we do this week? Connect with our spirits and ancestors. Absolutely. The thinning of the veil, in October, this marks such an ideal time to communicate with them. But the dark moon especially enhances our ability to sense and connect with energies from other realms. So for this one, create that ancestral altar that we were talking about with photographs, heirlooms, add some candles and then offerings, and then spend time in the meditation, asking your ancestors for guidance or, simply honoring their presence. You can also perform that quiet seance or, use divination tools like tarot or pendulums to communicate with spirits. And Ragnar. Oh my gosh, my cats are so distracting tonight. I've literally stopped and started so many times because Ragnar, my fluffy cat, he's just in a mood tonight. But definitely as far as connecting with spirits and ancestors during a dark moon, that dumb supper, oh my goodness, on October 31st, my mom and I are going to be doing it. That's coming in a future episode, but that's definitely something that you can do as well. If you don't want to do a dumb supper, you can do a quiet seance, use your divination tools, again, that tarot, pendulum, whatever it is, but dark moon to connect with ancestors. All right, guys, I'm going to cut out before my cat does anything else, and I have to start this whole segment over again. So I am going to say thank you. Thank you for joining me today on this journey through, the October thin veil. I hope you feel inspired to explore the magic of this season in your own way. Remember, the veil may be thin, but your connection to the spirit world, I think, is always, always within reach. October is a fun month of episodes here at Witchy Work Wishes, and today's episode really does lead us right into some magical, fun stuff that's coming up. I already mentioned it, but I do have that 2-part series on ancestral magic, which is going to end with a step-by-step layout for a dumb supper. But I do have a big episode about Samhain coming up, and then again ending October with an episode on Night of Hecate, which happens in November. Lots of spirit, ancestral, and dark magic. Well, my friends, until next time, embrace the magic all around you. I hope you stay curious. I certainly hope you have a wonderful rest of this week and an amazing weekend. I will talk with you next week. Thank you for joining me today at Witchy Work Wishes, a place to find your weekly inspiration for bringing your personal witchcraft practice into your business, work, and office. For more information and additional content, please visit me online at witchyworkwishes.com. If you want to send me a personal note, please email me at info@witchyworkwishes.com. And of course, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Just search for Witchy Work Wishes.